Young buck Paul Ryan shows off his hunting credentials. We'll have that and more right here, right now on the News Hub. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Simon Constable, and we've got Janet Hook to tell us the story about Paul Ryan and his deer hunting pastime and passion. Janet, that's a great big deer he managed to shoot there.
Yeah, I think he only goes for the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his hobby that he's not keeping under the basket. He's been talking about it on the stump, and he's been hunting for a long time.
Now, this matters in the swing states a lot, doesn't it? Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin.
Well, you know, the Romney campaign really needs to win big among rural voters and in the Midwest. And that's a part of the country where hunting is just sort of part of the culture. So that it's kind of a symbol, it's a signal to voters that Romney needs that Ryan's one of them.
Now, one of the things he did when he was talking about hunting, I understand from your story, is he says, you know, I like my hunting and I like, you know, and I like my religion. Really to hit back at President Obama, who made some cutting comments, right?
Right. He's a line he uses a lot on the stump when he's in the Midwest actually harkens back to a line that Obama said during the 2008 campaign. And it actually has this sort of, it's come up a lot lately in the discussions about Romney being overheard in a fundraising event. In 2008, Obama was overheard saying that people in the Midwest, you know, that they're in economic difficulty and they cling to their guns and religion, and it was seen as disparaging those kinds of voters. So Paul Ryan quotes that line and says, you know, Obama said this back in 2008, and I got to tell you, as a Catholic deer hunter, I'm proud of my guns and religion.
Now, I understand he's also just gotten a rifle for his daughter, and he's getting her ready to go out this season. I know in the Midwest, as it gets colder, the rifle hunting season starts in a few weeks. There'll be a lot of people gearing up for that with their kids, going out when they're 14, right?
Actually, in Wisconsin, apparently they've lowered the hunting age to 10, and Ryan's youngest daughter just turned 10, so he gave her a rifle for Christmas. And while he was campaigning in Ohio, he doesn't have a lot of spare time, but when he had some, he went shopping for camo for his daughter.
So I guess she'll be very excited for this season when it opens. Now, he's actually even got more cred than your regular hunter, because he doesn't just like to hunt with a gun, he also hunts with a bow, which is, I understand, particularly tricky.
Yeah, no, it's much more challenging because, you know, with a gun you can shoot from, you know, hundreds of yards away, but with a bow you have to get a lot closer, which means you have to be craftier, you have to know more about animal habitat, and a lot more patient, I think. So there is this kind of hardcore aspect to it. If you like bow hunting, you're pretty serious. Now,
will this alienate urban voters? I know a lot of urban voters. I live in an urban area myself. Are sort of appalled by the idea of hunting. How will this go over with them, or does that even matter?
Yeah, I don't think he's getting a lot of votes in Manhattan, so I don't think you have to worry about that. The other thing is that he probably doesn't talk about it much when he goes to, say, suburban Virginia. So I think it's a calibrated message. Obviously, it gets repeated anywhere, you know, across the country via YouTube and television. But I think the main thing is that these are core voters that Romney and Ryan probably already have a good line into. But they really need to turn those voters out in very large numbers to make up for the gap, the deficit in supporters in other demographics.